Welcome to our empty house tour.
So it took us a very long time, it feels like, to get to this spot. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video, but more on that later. This is our empty house tour. Lou and I have been designing this for what feels like forever. It is April 23rd, 2026. So if you're seeing this in real time, give us all the tips, suggestions. If you built your own house, what are things that you liked and what are the things that you didn't like? When you have young kids, what are the features with young children that make living in your home feel easeful, calm, functional? This is Willa's first nap in her home. We basically are trying to build a super functional home that kids can thrive in and parents can thrive in. So we want quality play zones, good drop zones for stuff, a functional mudroom, a kitchen that kids love to cook in, co-sleeping areas, a bathroom where in one moment everyone can get clean. So there's a bathtub that the kids can splash in, but also a shower head right there all in one space so that I can get clean at the same time. And like, we're really trying to create just this space that creates not only joy and creativity and play in our life, but also practical, functional for everybody. You know, we want something where we can have a gym to work out, but our kids can also play. So if you have any intel on that style of design, we're probably going plywood, Scandi, that vibe.
All right, so what we're working with is a 30 by 50 building. This direction down here is the view down the mountain. So we have a large kitchen window here, and then we have a large living room window here. The actual kitchen is gonna be right here, and it has a peninsula like this. The range, we're thinking will go here, like that. The sink, fridge goes right here.
This is my future kitchen. I'm really, really excited about this space. I feel like I spend so much time in the kitchen, and I've had a lot of funny kitchens, like our van kitchen, our boat kitchen, the shipping container kitchen, and I think all of that experience of cooking in a really, really small space has shown me what I like and what I don't like. Oh, hey, yeah. Willa's getting her front teeth right now. Right. I feel like so often kitchens, the range is like on a back wall, and I get it, it's tucked away, it's easy, you can have the hood above it, but then I feel like I'm living my whole life like, what? Like, who needs help? Like, what's going on? Whereas if I'm facing this way, it feels so open, and I can be stirring a pot, I can be, you know, tying a shoelace, I can be more involved. And let's say we are having a rare moment when we're having like people over and it's a party, we got people on the couch, people at the table, and I'm still involved. It's like the kitchen is the heart of our life. We're just talking refrigerator placement. I think I am gonna let go. I really wanted a door right off the kitchen. I thought it would be so nice to have a door right off the kitchen, go right onto a patio. It'd just be so refreshing in the morning to like make a tea. Everybody's around, putzing around. I can open the door and just like pop my head out, get some sun on my face. But the reality is of having an extra door, it really eats up part of the floor plan that would be so supportive to the kitchen. And Lou was talking about, it's like when you have an extra door, it's kind of like, okay, well, where are the shoes gonna go that go out to that patio? When you go in and out, it creates like another drop zone. Really trying to create a home that like supports me entering my era of being a tidier person. It's like, when things have a home, it's like, this is just the spot that all the shoes live. But when you have two entry points, it's kind of like, where are the shoes? Are they over here or are they over there? So yeah, I think I'm gonna give up on my dream patio door, and then the fridge can just go here. And you know what, as somebody who has lived with a fridge outside, in my kitchen inside in the containers, I think my future self will appreciate far more an accessible fridge than this little whimsical door that I've been also dreaming of. So right off of the kitchen is going to be the living room.
Under the window, we have a living room couch.
My parents actually have an old couch in their basement. We measured it. They're willing to share it with us, and it's gonna go right here. It's this big L. So it's gonna be really comfy. It's gonna be our first couch. I'm so excited to have a cozy furniture that we can all lounge on together.
This here is the window.
Yep, there's gonna be a window behind us. Max, me, and Willa and Lou can just hang out on the couch. Freya can be laying on the floor. Then, behind us, we will be having our dining room table. We're thinking a big dining room table right here with like a built-in bench on one side and chairs on the other. Probably we'll see 8, you were saying, right? Mm-hmm. Then, keep going. Bathroom, over here. This is gonna be our bathroom. The bathroom is one of the spaces that I'm most looking forward to. We wanna do a full wet room. So you like walk in and it's all tiled. The shower is enclosed with a bathtub as well. And we wanna do 2 shower heads. So it's like this amazing oasis feeling, I think for me, especially as someone who has not had proper running water on and off for the last decade of my life between the van and our boat and the shipping containers. The thought of having our spring water running up to this house, being able to take a steam shower. Oh man, it's gonna be so life-changing. So in the bathroom, the bathroom, I feel like I have a vision, like a Pinterest picture of a shower and bathroom that's like on my fridge right now at my parents' house, just like calling in this luxurious bathroom because it will have laundry machine in it. It's gonna have running water. It's gonna have 2 sinks. I feel like I'm gonna be like skyrocketing into the future, like, I don't know, luxurious. So we're gonna even do a steam shower. That's really cool. Above, this is another thing that's gonna be interesting. At first, when we were designing this, we thought we were just kind of do a very minimal, put a few things in here and then like ultimately build a house because this was supposed to be a shed, but this is just our home. We're gonna be in here for a while. So we've decided to put a 2nd story above the bathroom, and that's gonna have Lou's office and an extra bedroom. Our whole sleeping arrangement has been shuffling like this the last few days. Lou and Max are now sharing a bed. Willa and I are now sharing a bed. I feel like the co-sleeping parents get it. It's like a shuffle of bed situations. We're not sure how everything's gonna go. So we're just gonna have multiple bedrooms and then everybody can evolve as things evolve. Over here, we're thinking of doing something called an Alaskan King. It's like a mega bed and it offers opportunity and plenty of space for if we want to co-sleep as a whole family, which I think would be so lovely one day. Going through it. I said Willa's really going through it right now.
Perfect.
You okay? Are you gonna throw up?
So I feel like Dana did a great job describing the general layout, and I could answer some of the technical questions we got on our last video. People were wondering, why is there only 1 window? And this window is just cut out because it was easier to have it already cut out, but you can see with the white spray paint, I've kind of marked possible positioning of some of the other windows, but technically the window layout isn't completely done. The reason that we went with steel for the actual framing is because our friend Mike, who is the engineer who designed this building and who's helping me build it all, this is the way he built his house, and that's kind of my reference point because he's the only person I know who's built a large structure like this with a team of 2 or 3 guys. I feel like normally it takes like a very large crew of guys, usually Central or South Americans, who come in and do the wood framing. And the other massive advantage of steel, in my opinion, apart from the fact that it's way, way stronger, is that it gives you a ton of flexibility on the interior layout because everything that I build in here from now on won't be structural in any way. So we don't have to have the interior layout done, and we can even change it in the future, and it will be so, so easy because none of the walls I build hold anything at all except for the floor above. Also, it gives you these massive open expanses, like the ceilings in here are just so, so high. So I don't know if you can see, but the roof is held up by 7 steel trusses, which go all the way across. And this is the part that I'm so grateful we had Mike for, because I was a little intimidated attempting to build these things and having them fit perfectly because they basically got lifted in with a crane. And because the whole thing is steel, there is basically no room for error. It has to be like perfect down to the 0.5 centimeter. And on a couple of them, he had to get out his angle grinder and grind a tiny bit to get it to fit because it was such a tight fit. But yeah, it's like so, so impressive to me that he he was able to build these in a workshop, then get a crane and lift them into place and have all of it fit together so well. It also just gives me a ton of confidence with the snow and the wind around here that our actual shell is just so much stronger than a traditionally framed house. So I feel like being on a mountain with the wind speeds we get, it's just a very, very nice feeling that everything is like so strong. It's all welded together, and yeah, I like that. It helps you sleep at night. This is the utility room.
I feel like there's a lot of houses that feel like too small, and then there's a lot of houses that feel too big, where you can't find people. There's like too many rooms, it's too spread out. And this, I think, is actually a really, really nice size house for the four of us for right now, because it's the size where you can still hear what's going on in all of the different rooms, but because of the tall ceilings, I don't think it will feel claustrophobic in any way. And obviously compared to like what we've been living in the past, this will feel like a palace. But once you add the kids and you add all of the stuff, I'm sure it will like start to get a little tighter.
So for insulation, what I'm thinking is spray foam everywhere. I'm a huge fan of spray foam now. I've tried a bunch of different natural insulations and like semi-natural insulations, and I feel like spray foam and steel just go together so well because the spray foam stops the steel from condensing. It's also just a really nice thing to build with because it waterproofs your entire building. Obviously your building doesn't breathe in the same way that it would if you used a different material, but I honestly don't believe that these buildings that they're building these days breathe at all anyways. So up above me is where we're thinking of putting the loft. Basically, the 2 bedrooms on the lower floor will get lofted. On the second floor, this room here, this room, and this up here gets lofted. There's a walkway that comes across to this side. This gets lofted, this gets lofted, this gets lofted, and this gets lofted. So this section over here has really high ceilings along with this whole central corridor. So you have a single walkway from this side all the way over here, which is 50 feet, which is really nice because sometimes babies only sleep in carriers. And so Dana can walk back and forth in this section and have a nice long walk, which is pretty cool. You also get to see this window. You get to look out this window from all the way over here, which is pretty cool. So you'll have a nice view from a lot of different places. There's gonna be an egress window here in this bedroom, another one here, and then we'll put a window over here and a window over here. I'm hoping that that's a good design idea. The other thing I'm still deciding on to this moment is whether or not we want to keep this giant door over here or just wall it off. The one advantage of the big door is that in the summer you can open it, and since that's going to be like our gym play area, it will just give you so much fresh air. It will also help anytime you want to move large objects into or out of this space. You can open that door because it'll be like 9 by 12 feet, like a garage door basically. You could even drive into here if you wanted to and park your car inside your house, which would be nice, honestly, in like different emergency situations. If someone was in a wheelchair, you could just drive directly into your house, and it does make your entire house incredibly wheelchair friendly because all of it exists on one floor. None of the lofted spaces are necessary, so something to think about for sure. So this right here is where I'm thinking of putting in my giant door. It will actually be a little bit smaller than this. I'm thinking of bringing in this wall a little bit and capping it at about 12 feet, and then having a single large door that opens out and gets anchored into place here. And then potentially what we could do is also put one smaller door inside the large door. So what do you think? Should we install a giant door in our house, or is it a very dumb idea? I've honestly been going back and forth. I was really sold on the door, and then I kind of changed my mind. Dana's dad is very anti-door, and I kind of see it both ways. I don't know. It could make the second portion of this build go substantially faster, being able to bring in materials and vehicles so that I can do the ceiling and stuff like that. But you do lose a bit of floor space, so let's do a poll. Yes, giant door, no giant door.
So this is a concrete floor. This was the most frustrating part of the entire process, having the guy I hired finish this job. But I talked to a bunch of people, and apparently he did a fantastic job. They think this is like a really, really good concrete floor. It hasn't cracked in a single place either, which is interesting. And I put PEX radiant tubing into here, and I'm praying that I did a good job. We'll see when we turn on the whole system whether or not it works. The slab itself is way overbuilt because this was supposed to be a workshop barn, and so it's designed for an excavator to drive on it, our mini excavator. So I think it's 12 inches of cement reinforced with rebar, foam underneath. I put a radon barrier in there too, and then all of the radiant floor piping. In my humble opinion, in-floor radiant heat is by far the best type of heat for a house. It's just so much more comfortable. It feels way more efficient. Yeah, you want the heat at your feet. It just makes it so nice to walk around. And Dana and I have been going back and forth on whether or not we wanted to find some sort of wood flooring solution. She really wanted something softer for the kids so that they don't whack their heads and get concussions every time they fall on this floor. And what we've decided on is carpets in different areas and the floor mats that we have. And then in the future, you could remove the different carpets or remove the different floor mats, because it's very hard to figure out a solution for putting wood flooring over a heated slab without insulating away the heating benefit. And they do make engineered floors, I know, that do technically work, but I strongly dislike engineered floors. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe we add wood flooring in the future, but I think for now we're gonna see if we can make it work with carpets and floor mats, because I feel like for the young kid years, we can just have cushioning all over the place and then remove it in the future. So that's basically where things stand. If you have any ideas, please send them right away, because this is going to start changing pretty quickly in the next couple weeks, hopefully. And yeah, thank you so much for watching and for all of your support. And a big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. In the middle of all this, while juggling the house build, I've quietly been building out a new website for our Cooking with Littles course, which includes 4 video modules, an intro, outro, and a bunch of other extras like an audio-only version for all my busy parents out there, so you can podcast, clean, and learn all at the same time. And Squarespace makes this entire process so easy. It's honestly a huge relief, because this particular build, I'm going full template mode. Basically, I just plug our video files into the website, switch out the text and images, and the Squarespace site takes care of the rest. There's buttons to mark a module as completed, extra lists for adding additional features like our page with essential gear, and our bonus cookbook with recipes we know work well with littles. I really just love how empowering it is to get to build digital products that can help young parents without having to know how to code or get into the nitty-gritty of website design. When you're ready to build something of your own, head to squarespace.com/wildweroam for a free trial. And when you're ready to launch, use code WILDWeRoam for 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.